Questing. What's going on with quests in the new game? Couple different things. One thing is we definitely want to focus on more max level content. It's something that we saw with Cataclysm, that people burned right through the content very quickly, and we saw that they really wanted more content to do at max level. So it's something we want to focus on here. We still obviously want a strong leveling experience along the way, but we want to make sure when you get there, you have a lot of stuff to do, and stuff that can give you Valor points that you can do at that level. So this is that kind of thing. We really want to focus on that. Things like the Molten Front from 4.2, we want to do things like that right from the beginning, so players have different choices when they hit level 90. So we're talking about having multiple hubs for that kind of stuff all over the world. Those will play into the factions as well, but it'll give players a different thing to do at max level and not just necessarily the same options that they've always had historically. Another thing that goes along with that is maybe giving some incentives to dungeon and our raid players for doing outdoor daily kind of stuff. So for example, say if you did 5 daily quests, you would get a buff. And that buff, if you happen to go into a dungeon with that buff, you might get a chance to roll on a piece of loot that only shows up to the players that have that buff. So maybe you went out and did a few dailies first and then go and do the dungeon. It helps kind of motivate some play there from both sides. So like I was talking about a little earlier with Valley of the Four Winds, we're really looking to make the quests feel less linear. So not the fact that they're always going to feel completely different, but the fact that we give you some choices. So when you come back and you go through a zone, you can do it in a little bit of a different level. Same thing with flying from max level. We mentioned this earlier. It's just something that feels better to not have that. To keep people on their ground mounts, we can introduce different types of quest content that really fits. And we don't have to worry so much about people flying up in the air and landing on the boss mob to kill them right away without clearing anything along the way. It just really, I don't know, it doesn't have that good vibe to it. You didn't feel like you really did it. You kind of cheated a little bit and flew in. So by keeping people on the ground, it'll really feel better. Finally, faction improvements. Factions are something we've had in the game for a long time. We've done a number of different things with them. And here we're
in Mists of Pandaria. We have done a massive spellbook cleanup. We've gotten rid of some more junk. We've tried to find roles for some of those spells that never actually did anything. We want to clean up action bars a little bit, but not removing the fun things, just kind of removing this spell has such a very narrow niche that I don't use it often. Rotations are improved, kind of how I mentioned for Warlocks. We're doing that pass on all of the specs, even if we're not changing your core resource. You now automatically learn spells in the field. You don't have to go back and visit your trainer. It always makes us cry a little inside to see a level 15 or 20 player going along and they have all these spells they haven't learned yet because it's just not worth it going back to the trainer. This feels pretty good. Trainers will still be there for things like respecking. Lots of new spells. There's a lot in the talent trees. There are a few new core spells where it makes sense. We're still thinking about giving everyone a new level 87 spell. Level 90, you'll get your final talent point, but we might give you a new spell at 87. Specs more developed, like I mentioned with the Warlock and Druid. And overall, we really want talent trees to be fun. They shouldn't be a chore. They shouldn't be the thing you just, look up on the internet to find your cookie cutter build. They should be something you can really obsess over and have a lot of fun with. And I think that wraps it up for us. As you can see, the team has been crazy hard at work on this. Usually when we talk about a new expansion, we have a couple of concept pieces and that's it. But our artists, programmers, producers, the whole team has really been kicking ass trying to get this together. And we can't wait for you guys to get a look at it. You should definitely go play it. We have a lot of Q&A sessions coming up tomorrow where you can ask questions if we've blown your mind with all this information. And hope you enjoy the rest of the show.